All right, there it is.
Don't be a clown.
Yes, you're a clown. Um, Hi, everybody. James Gardner and Cindy Van back. They're seeing quite a lot of us today or this week,
Mhm.
the end of last week and this week. Just bear with me, folks. I'm tagging this live so we can rock and roll here on a few streams. Cindy Van, what's a good word today?
What's the good word today? The good word today is wealth.
Ooh, wealth.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. We're ready to rock and roll. Wealth it is. Wealth of love, wealth of inner child. And that's why we're here, gang. This is it. The first official kickoff of the 6 weeks of pre-sales, signature first edition of All In With Love, My Journey to the Hero Within. You're going to be seeing quite a lot of me with some amazing people, like-minded, close circle connected people in my community, supporters of me that have been there through thick and thin over the last couple of years on this journey. Cindy Van, you have one of the unique perspectives because you've actually read the book.
Yes.
And so this is my give back, not give back. This is my open mic to you and guests that will be on here for our community viewers to just ask away.
Yeah.
Ask away anything, anything at all. The mic is yours, and let's have a discussion about the book.
Yeah, I love it. First and foremost, for anybody out there who's listening, I've read the book. It's fucking amazing. It's very good. I have never had a book take me on such a journey before and stir up so much emotion. So thank you, James, for bringing your gift to the world. When I met you in June 2 years ago, it's crazy to think that you had just started writing the book. And it's been quite a journey for you. And I know, we've had lots of conversation about writing, and every day I talk to you, you've been writing and writing every day. I'm curious what that 2 year process has been like for you. Not just like the mechanics of it, but the emotional ride you went on.
Yeah. Yeah, it's well, it was a lot of things. It was a ride. It was a roller coaster with dipsy doodles and stomach turning drops, death defying drops of oh my god, what am I doing? Uh, I'll sum it up by saying it brought life back to me. It as we talk about and as we'll dive in, obviously the inner child is the big thing in reconnecting. And the book truly reconnected me to that inner child.
Yeah.
I had done some work the 2 years previous in terms of self growth, and a lot of the elements in the later part of the book are those remaining 2 years prior to writing the book. Um, but the book was the tangible, living, breathing kind of embodiment of the spiritual essence of what I used to be like, and then kind of evolving that into how I show up now. The process was cathartic. It was amazing. And here's the thing, not everyone wants to write a book. Not everyone cares to write a book. I get that. In self-growth world, we talk about writing and we know that it's a huge thing. And just the process has allowed me the gift of reliving so many lost moments that I thought just vanished.
Yeah.
And we call that creative alchemy in the book writing process, or just in the artistic world. And it truly was like it was just these mythical doors open, and I walked in and I was like, oh my god, I completely forgot about this. And those small units, getting back to making me feel alive, those small units were like crash cart moments of me, day in and day out, keeping me on this true north of telling the story in the hopes of inspiring others.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. Something to be said about going back and reliving those stories, right? So tell us what the book is about. What is this book about? It's not just a story of James Gardner.
No. We all have a story, you know. I don't
Way
claim.
more than that.
What's that?
It's way more than that.
It is. It is. Well, it is. It's a story of reconnection. It's a story of adventure, freedom, play, and that concept that we all live and breathe when we are young, and you know, you hear me talk about this common denominator that we all have now, that we were all children once, and that ability to create our ode to joy every day, to show up and just be present, and that air of possibility that you talk about, that air of possibility is just swirling. And this is really a book about that does not have to go away when we walk through the door to adulthood. And we're given this playbook of how we're supposed to live our lives and what's expected of us to do, think, taste, buy, wear, date, marry, do these things. And we lose sense of our identity that way. And so this is a reconnection to the hero within, which I truly feel that the hero within is the inner child, where little Jimmy way back and you know, moving into Jimmy and Jim in my life, you know, the hero was always this. That's the hero. I want to be like this. I want to feel this. I want to save the day, right? I want to ride in and swoop the princess up. And it's like, no, the hero's in. And that's really the crux of the book. Fate isn't up to us. I used to believe in destiny and fate and force fate and all this warrior shit, which, you know, I embodied that for many years. And now the conscious warrior is like, no, fate isn't up to us. Only our ability to go all in is in every moment.
Yeah. I love that. I love it. So little Jimmy, I mean, when I met you, I met this athletic, strong man who's like seems so strong, and yet little Jimmy had asthma when he was growing up, like quite severe asthma. Can you tell us a little bit about what that was like for you as a kid growing up?
Well, you know, it was a bad, you know, it was chronic asthma. I was born with it. I was pretty much in an oxygen tent from the get-go. And you know, for the first 13 years of my life, Cindy, I was in the hospital every year, sometimes 2 or 3 times a year, up to 2 weeks at a time. You know, I usually about 4 or 5 days would be my stint, my frequent flyer miles at the pediatric ward at South County Hospital. And you know, it was you know, I don't downplay afflictions in general. You know, not being able to breathe is something that it's hard to put into words. And you know, for a scared child that couldn't breathe, he only had his mother and the shots in the back of the arm that she would give him before they would go to the hospital. So and being an only child, I didn't have any siblings, and that's where Jimmy turned to the one thing that became his medicine, which is, you know, the ability to dream, right? To kind of escape that. So, yeah.
Love it. So I'm a huge lover of kids' books.
Right.
And damn it, if I have not read the kids' book that you had when you were a kid. Can you tell us about that book? I gotta get my hands on it.
It was a nondescript book out in the lobby of the hospital that I gravitated to probably when I was 4, maybe or 5. It was called Scuttle, the Stowaway Mouse. And it's a picture book about this mouse who wanted to escape the wharf rats and find pirate treasure and get his own ship and all of that. And became my Bible, if you will, of every time I was in the hospital, I would end up performing, and the book, the lines from the book, Scuttle, the Stowaway Mouse, and the the mythical society that lives in the pediatric world. These candy stripers became my first ever audience, and it was something that Jimmy, responded to. It was again a way to escape the fact that he was stuck in a bed and couldn't breathe and was hooked up to IVs and all this stuff. So it's a profound book. My mom bought me my own copy because I was wearing out the hospital copy. True story. So that copy of the book, which I should have it here. It's in the other room. I still have it, and it traveled with me everywhere. So it would be packed in my hospital bag because we always had a bag ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
And there would always be renditions of Scuttle the Stowaway Mouse on the third floor of South County Hospital. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Which led to, your trip to New York and acting and all of those pieces. But I want to talk about your athletic journey first. Because from a little boy with asthma so bad that you couldn't breathe, you decided you wanted to be an athlete. Where did that decision come from?
Well, again, it started with this notion of a hero. So my first hero was Captain Kirk, of course, in Star Trek, and then sports just seemed that arena called to me. Watching football with my dad on TV and basketball, and it just seemed what kids do back then, and so. There was just a calling, and I wanted to play, and I played Little League, and I played basketball, recreation basketball, and I was okay, but I always struggled. At that point, it was a crapshoot whether or not I could breathe and whether or not I could run up and down the court or played baseball. Baseball wasn't too bad. Baseball for little Jimmy, though, he was petrified to swing the bat and at the pitches because he was just this little bony little kid who just stood there paralyzed, and slowly he evolved into taking some risks and being associated with that because again, and this is a part of the book, Cindy, is I can look back objectively now and I could see the seeds, even in little Jimmy, that were associating externally with the notion of worth, like even the candy stripers, same thing. That attention, those seeds of attention, the applause of a crowd, the applause of crowds, all of that was that external notion of validation that you mattered.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So you move into one of the most inspiring parts of the book is, in my opinion, is this journey that you went on with your rowing team and the 9 Hearts. Can you share a little bit about that experience and how the story made me cry. I was bawling my eyes out because it's so inspirational. And yet the journey that you went through to get to that place was so powerful. Can you just share a little bit about that?
Yeah. 9 Hearts, it's oh, you can't really see it. There you go.
There we go.
It was just, it's hard for me to talk about it all these years removed. And I still get quite emotional about it because, it was a magical season, and it was just 9 people coming together for a dream, and in this why not attitude and approach. Why not us? We we're a club funded sport, and we competed against the top varsity funded sports where they had, 30 people to choose to get the top 8 guys, and we had 8 guys.
Right.
Right. And and it was just, rowing is such, as you say, you've learned more about rowing in those few chapters than you ever thought you would.
Yeah.
Rowing it's not a sport, it's a discipline. And it's a way of life that's come to define me. That year, in particular, was a year of just never stop believing. And we persevered through so many losses, not showing up, just not finding the elusive swing that boats have, this magical, effortless application of power, speed, and rhythm where the boat just dances. But we knew, like we just knew. And like we showed up at the Nationals and made some fucking history.
Yeah. I can feel the emotion in the story.
I know. I can't help it, but I will say this, and then we gotta go to something lighter. It was the first time that Jimmy felt part of something. First time ever, right?
That's beautiful.
And that's the sport, right?
Yeah. You want to go to something lighter?
Yeah, let's go to something lighter, please. You're killing me.
Well, I'm going to ask you about this because it's one of my favorite parts of the book. You got yourself a sports injury, but it's not from rowing, nor is it from football or tennis or anything else. How'd you get your sports injury?
Yes, Cindy Van, you
you knew I was going to go there.
Well, of course, I know. It's one of those things. It's just one of those really moments, like, well, let me just say first that the seed of that attention and the applause and then wanting to be on stage and all of that obviously kept blooming and growing and then at that point in my life where in New York and the ego starts to take over and as an actor you're working and then you're not working for a while and you're trying to make it, you don't just want to be another bartender and all of this shit. So I said, well, fuck, why not again? And I did an audition for Chippendales. And so I went to a Chippendale audition, and before I knew it, I was one of the lead dancers when they brought back the organization in New York. So the book talks a little bit about that. It's one chapter in the book, as you know. It does stick in with the readers because it's obviously it's an interesting look inside of that world.
Yeah.
And of course, yes, my debacle on stage. Look at you just laughing. So I always say, and this is a theme in the book, when you go all in, though, there's always a toll to pay.
Yeah.
Always. There's always a toll on the ferry ride to go all in on whatever you're doing. Not always necessarily a bad, but there's always a price to pay. Well, the ego calling the shots on that one, the price to pay was was me wiping out on a grease spot on stage and blowing my knee out in front of 250 screaming women and then trying my best as a warrior does to finish the number
Mhm.
and do it. So yeah, there it is. And ironically, which is, and again, this journey, I can't make some of this shit up. And then when I'm writing this, reliving some of these Chippendale moments, my number in the show, because we all have personalized individual numbers as dancers, right? Was officer and a gentleman. So I had the Navy outfit on.
Mhm.
And the song, though, was Hero by Mariah freaking Carey.
Of course it was.
Of course it was. I look back and I'm like, oh, really? It's in the book and no one's going to flip and believe it. It's going to be like, come on. I'm like, I make this shit up. When a hero comes along. Oh, yeah. Anyway. Good old Mariah. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ego, that's the thing in the book too. It's we all have those moments in life where the ego cashes the checks for a while.
Yeah.
And showing up now as a conscious male and the work that I do and being all in with love, there's no shame. I've let all that go with the Chippendales and I look back and it was some fun, like,
Yeah.
that brotherhood in rowing. Brotherhood's a theme throughout the book for me, whether it was being on a film set or working with a crew towards a goal, or in this case too, being with a bunch of guys that were really cool dudes, all living their own lives and just really stand-up guys doing our thing, for a trademark company, so yeah.
I love it. I love it. It's a fun story. I've done enough things in my life that I can make fun of that one because trust me, we've all done our things. So one of my favorite people in your story is a guy from Scotland.
Oh shit.
Tell us about your grandfather.
Oh, Mr. Malcolm.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Scottish sage. That's another gift of this whole writing journey is I reconnected to how pivotal my grandfather was in my life.
Yeah.
What a larger than life character, full of wit and humor and chaos and tomfoolery and shenanigans and yet also provided me a lot of counsel as I started to get older, and I had a great relationship with my parents, but I never got that from mom and dad. It was really interesting. It was talking to my grandfather about things, and he kicked me in the arse, a few times, and spurred me on though. But in that transition of the end of Jimmy in the book, meaning just age-wise, as we shift into the New York City arena, there's a series of micro chapters called the Malcolm Suite, and these chapters are all dedicated, but also all really hinged upon his guidance in different things that were huge milestones or huge markers in my life. And I learned so many lessons from that, from a simple glass of scotch or listening to Charlie Parker albums on a Sunday night, or the buttermilk pancakes that he used to make me, which was my favorite go-to dish back in the day. Yeah, just amazing. Yeah.
Sounds like an incredible man.
He was. Yeah. He was. Yeah. There's obviously a lot more. I mean, he plays a big role in the first part of the book, but it's been a pleasure to reconnect with him for sure.
Yeah. Beautiful. So you go from Rhode Island to New York to LA, and then you end up in Canada. And you play the role of being Mr. Responsible, doing what you should versus what you want, because you had given up your dream. And I'm curious, what was it like going from completely giving up your dream to living the should life to then coming back to you?
Oh, well, as you know, it's a tangled web and a mini roller coaster unto itself, and that those later parts of my life. Well, it's definitely been a reawakening. You know, there is nothing worse than the death of a dream. Nothing worse than the death of a dream. Because I do believe that the dream is connected to the child, and so if the dream is dead, that means the child's dead. And you know, when I made that decision to move up here, and you know, at the time, it was the right decision. It was just I was conflicted with a lot of things, trying to make the right decision, or what I should do. You know, what society says I should do. And, you know, I found that slowly and more, you know, slowly, the units of joy kept dissipating. And I started to still reach for those external, you know, shots in the back of the arm, if you will, right? So I got back into rowing after 15 years. And then I was all in on rowing and had some amazing memories. Some of my best memories are in my second, you know, rowing career, if you will. And yet there was a toll to pay, right? Again, been going all in. Going all in with this artistic mindset and being an actor and doing those things, you know, here I was in my early 40s, completely, you know, empty pockets and starting over again, just like I was when I was 17 or whatever, right? And so just a lot of different things that compelled me to make decisions. So then I was like, oh, I gotta take that job because that job has money. Then I take that, and you know, everything's great for a few months, and then you're like, oh, right. And so you know, the leading up to the birth of James, if you will, it's all leading back to when we don't live our truth, right? That misalignment always shows itself. Always. You know, we can take the high-paying job, make a lot of money. We can live an amazing life, have an amazing family. You know, you can have everything you ever want at your doorstep, technically. But if it's not your truth, then it doesn't matter. It doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah. And this is why you tie truth into all of the work that you do now. Yes.
Yeah, for sure. Flag bearer of truth, inner child. It's all in that. It's just a big sandwich. The hero within is all of that. It's, you know, it's truth, trust, acceptance, you know, presence, that child, that wonder, that adventure, that play, curiosity, romance, that zest for life. You know, and as I say, in the moments between the moments, that's where the magic happens.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Cool. Well, Cindy Van, we're just about at time. Since you have read the book, if I may ask, what's one thing you could leave people that may tune into this about the book?
Just read it. You won't regret that decision. I can promise you that. It's one of the most powerful books I've ever read. And I mean, look behind me. I read a lot. I've been an avid bookworm since I was old enough to read. And it's a rare moment when I find a book that's outside the realm of self-development, personal development, business development, that touches me in such a unique way. It's powerful. Yeah. Just read it.
Thank you. Thank you, Cindy, for your time and sharing this with me. Thank you for making me cry.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't crying.
Oh, we love you for it, James. And
No,
thank
I
you for bringing your gift
appreciate.
to the world.
Thank you, thank you, and for all of you, I know you'll probably catch snippets of this, and you know that's my trust and my hope is that one thing about this book, Cindy, is obviously there's a lot of different things that can pull people in, that people can latch onto, and storylines and things. So it has a lot to offer. And you know, for those of you that are interested in more, there's a link, of course, here in the post. I have a Indiegogo campaign. You can go on herowithin.ca as well. Everything links up to the page. We're pre-selling. I have to sell 200 books. Going to be working with Freezing Press. You got yours. Yes, you did. Today's the first day, the 15th, and we already got a good chunk of books sold. It's amazing. And, you know, your support to be a contributor, founding hero on this journey means the world to me, and will mean the world to others as I get out into the world and share this story and share the power of the inner child. All right. Thank you, Cindy Van. You're amazing.
Thanks, James.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Cheers.